Hello, I am Judy Matthew, Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultant with College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultant, Canada. My company is Phantom Immigration Agency, incorporated in British Columbia, Canada. Today, I am going to give you an overview of the skilled immigration and Express Entry BC category of the British Columbia Provincial Nominee Program. So, how the skills immigration work? Once the candidate gets the job offer, they need to register with the BCPNB. When their registration gives them an invitation, they can apply to BCPNB. Once they get the BCPNB nomination, they can apply to IRCC for permanent residency. Express Entry BC is slightly different. Once the candidate gets the job offer, they need to create an Express Entry profile. When their profile receives a profile number and a job seeker validation code, they can register with the BCPNB. Once the registration receive an invitation, they can apply for BCPNB. Once they get the nomination, their Express Entry profile will receive 600 additional points. Then they will definitely get an Express Entry invitation and they can apply for permanent residency with IRCC. So in skills immigration and Express Entry BC, some programs require a registration, some does not. Skilled worker, international graduate, entry-level and semi-skilled category requires a registration. Whereas healthcare professionals and international postgraduates does not require a registration. In Express Entry BC category, Express Entry BC skilled worker and Express Entry BC international graduate stream registration is required. Whereas Express Entry BC healthcare professional and Express Entry BC international postgraduates does not require registration. Difference between skills immigration and Express Entry BC. In order to apply for skills immigration, the candidate does not need to qualify for an Express Entry. They can be in any skill level like NOC 0, A, B, C, or D. Whereas in Express Entry BC, the candidate has to meet the minimum eligibility of one of the federal Express Entry streams, like Federal Skilled Worker, Canadian Experience Class, or Federal Skilled Trade. They have to meet the language, work experience, and the settlement fund criteria. This is only for the skill levels NOC 0, A, B. The nominee will receive 600 points once they get the nomination. General requirements of BCPNB is the candidate requires the full-time indeterminate job offer. This is for 1 year in the case of BCPNB 10. For eligible international postgraduate stream, no job offer is required. The candidate has to meet the occupation, qualification, and wage requirements, language proficiency, minimum income. They should legally able to work in Canada, intend to reside in BC. If they are looking for Express Entry BC, they have to meet the requirements for that. The employer also has requirement. Employer should be at least 1 year in business. If the candidate is applying under entry level or semi-skilled worker, the employer should be at least 2 years in business. 5 employees in Theatre 1 Tour area, outside Theatre 1 Tour area, 3 employees. The employer should have good workplace and business practice, offer permanent full-time job with the market wage rate. This is 1 year for BCPNB 10. Then the employer has to satisfy the recruitment requirements if it is LMIA required job. Then the employer has to fill out the sufficient sections or information sections on the BCPNB application, notify the changes in the employment or business status to BCPNB about this. If you are looking for international postgraduate category, you does not need an offer of employment for eligible postgraduate education. If you are an international postgraduate, then you have to complete the requirement for a master's or a PhD at an eligible BC institution. Eligible studies limited to specific fields only, natural, applied, or health science. It has to complete within past 3 years. Then the candidate has to show the ability and intent to reside in BC. So if you have a job offer, that is better. Then you should show the ability to economically establish. If you are looking for international postgraduate Express Entry BC category, you have to meet the minimum eligibility criteria in order to be accepted to Express Entry pool. Then Express Entry BC international postgraduate or international skilled immigration international postgraduate, there are specific courses like agriculture, biological science, computer and IT, engineering, health, mathematics, statistics, natural, physical science. So your course should be at least any of these categories, and you have to be in an eligible DLI. If you are looking for international graduate stream, the employer has the same requirement as we discussed below. Then in the skills immigration or express entry category, you should have an indefinite job offer in NOC 0 AB category. You should have a degree, diploma, or certificate from an eligible DLI within the past 3 years. Your program should be at least 8 months length. Then you should show the intent to reside in DC and the ability to economically establish in Canada. If you are applying for NOC B category, you require CAB for language requirement. Then if you are looking for express entry BC category, you should be accepted in the IRCC express entry pool. Skilled worker category is another category of PCPLD. Here, in comparison to other programs, you need the additional eligibility of minimum 2 years of directly related experience, and you should have a requisite education for your job. Then if you are looking for express entry BC, you have to qualify for that eligibility. The job level is NOC 0 AB. If you are a candidate looking for entry level and a semi-skilled category, your job NOC code level is C and D. This is especially for occupations in hospitality, tourism, food processing, long-haul truck driving. Here, the applicant has to work 9 months full-time in the job, in the offered position before applying. The employment should be continuous, and there is a minimum language requirement of CLB4. The candidate has to maintain the immigration status during the employment. Then they have the ability to establish economically. And BCPNB Tech Pilot, this is not a separate category. Once you qualify any of the streams or any of the general categories of BCPNB, only you can apply for BCPNB Tech Pilot. Here the job offer is just for 1 year, and your job should be in one of the 29 eligible tech occupations. Hope this information is useful to you. Thank you for watching. Have a